Hello everybody and welcome back to Valdis Story. As always, I'm DW. Last time we went and picked up the angel key from the sewers, and this episode we are going to use that to go into the engineer's palace so that we can get the first item we need to craft the divine key. But before we do that, we have to visit an old friend. Each town in this game, except for Herc, can be destroyed. And Tegrum here is no exception to that. So at this point in the game, if you go back here and visit the Elder, you'll get a special scene. Seems like the Elder of Tegrum is having an argument with Zeg, which is of course Adelaine's brother, if you do not remember. Seems Zeg has been talking to the angels, so I'm sure this is going to go totally fine, right? Like, what could go wrong? Talking with one of the main antagonists of the game, it's probably nothing. Everyone's just gonna reach a civil result, and everything will be fine. It's also revealed here that Wyatt has his mother was a demon, which I believe we already know, but just in case you did not know, now you know. Oh, who would have guessed? I'm curious to wonder, like, if there was ever plans for it to have a boss battle with Zeg, because I would imagine that's probably the original intent, but it might have been a little hard to do that in this room, although that'd be kind of interesting. It seems like the mana barrier that protects the city from the ocean is failing, so It also appears that the old man of Tegrum knew a lot more than he originally was leading on. Also turns out that Moira was Wyatt's grandmother, so this war between the angels and demons has not been going on for too long, only about 3 generations. Now, before going on to Isk, we are going to go over here to visit a secret shop. Mesmer here he's the guy who will respect you. Respec, as you can basically, forget skills or forget your training so that you can spend those points over if you don't like your build. He also is guarding a grand agate. We're not gonna respec at the moment, so first we're gonna go back to Isk. We're going to go visit Sezi here to upgrade some of our armor. I am rather fond of the Go Ibniu armor. Having attacks that ignore all armor when your health is below 30% is pretty good. I mean, the Paladin armor has a lot better defense and resistances, and it's immune to some status effects, but you can't deny that damage. Especially since from here on out, we're going to be at low health relatively frequently. So the Engineer's Palace is just right up on the western side of the Western Skyway, so it's not too far. And here's the only door in the game that requires the angel key. You'd think there would be a save point here, but it's close enough to the town. So, Engineer's Palace is my least favorite area in the game. It has one of my least favorite bosses. The lightning things here will knock you around and have a deceptively large hitbox. One thing that I do like about this area is that almost all the enemies are unique, and they can be pretty tricky. Also, fortunately, it's a fairly short area. So one thing that I want to do is to change our assists to Resi here, because having Axon who deals lightning damage is not really going to be too helpful. You're going to see a lot of that, of just constantly being knocked around by lightning here. Now these enemies, they have the power of orbs, so you have to be very careful around them. These sort of stronger Goliath angels will tend to block all attacks, like even magic, so you really want to hit them from behind. Now this is my least favorite room in the game. I'm not sure if I've talked about it before, but ledge grabbing in this game is a little bizarre. If you press jump when you're on the ledge when you're grabbing a ledge, you'll actually go up on top of the ledge rather than jumping off of it like if you were wall jumping. And there's that slight oversight in the controls that makes this area in particularly kind of a pain in the ass, because you are going to have to do a lot of ledge grabbing, and if you're used to wall jumping, well, too bad. Now, this room does house a very special treasure, the final book of the old gods, and we definitely want that. But unfortunately, now we have to go back through this room for a third time, I guess? It's a bit frustrating. It's not, in this take, it wasn't as bad as I've had it done in the past, but still. Now this room is really large, but fairly easy. There's a gate in the upper right-hand side that you need to unlock with this mana key. And getting there, like, it gives you ample time. There's also a switch that will open another gate right here that I completely forget to hit because I thought I already hit it, so... Ugh. Only have 8 seconds left, and we're down to 94 health. Oh, we just made it. This room we don't really have to worry about. You can see some new enemies, but we're not going to fight them. This room can be kind of annoying because of this little battle right here, but we'll make quick work of these guys. Now I was thinking maybe you could skip through this area, not have to go up this hallway, but not until we beat the dungeon. Now through this door we have a save point, which is much needed because we have no health. And here we're already at the sub-boss of the area. This sub-boss looks very familiar. This is actually the sister of the second boss in the entire game. And I think this is definitely one of the more tricky of the sub-bosses in the game. She can get herself into a loop where she'll just do this laser and then ground pound, and what you really have to do is you have to get onto those far platforms to avoid it. Like, you can't jump over it very easily. You might be able to double jump, but it doesn't look like it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really like this sub-boss. She also has a ton of health. And it's, you know, right before the boss room, so you might not want to, like, spend, like, your focus attack or most of your mana. And apparently the camera locks when she dies, so that's... never seen that happen before. Now, you might have noticed I got a level up. Well, when I was playing, I didn't notice for quite some time. So, just bear with me there. So yeah, now for one of my least favorite bosses in the game. This is entirely due to the battle arena, as you can probably tell. The fight itself and the boss design itself is not too bad, but yeah. In the original release of this game, this boss arena was very different, but I want to say it was changed fairly early on. If you go and find some like videos that were released right around the time the game were released, you'll really see the difference. So this boss likes to kind of jump around the arena. They'll generally come at like at your level, but sometimes you're going to have to chase them if you knock them off this center platform. Once they get their sort of blue bar filled, they'll go into this sort of like, I don't know, orb phase, where they'll do a ground pound. The best way to deal with them is once you start seeing the sort of yellow glow where they'll slam down, is to throw some sort of ranged spell. Unfortunately, I don't really realize that until the very end of the fight, and this is a long fight. Now, the best area to fight them is down here against that green gate, because you can pin them against the wall and just, you know, beat the crap out of them. On any other side of the room, you'll have to deal with those lightning walls, and, well, you take damage from it, and the boss doesn't. At some interval, they'll start to do this sort of jump in the center where they'll shoot lightning in arcs around them, and it's fairly easy to deal with unless they're on the very top of the screen. So yeah, that's pretty much all of this boss's moves. Yeah, don't do that. And hey, that's the first time in this LP that I actually had to use a health potion. At least I think it is.
Ceramic storm.
Don't know what they're saying. It sounds like ceramic storm? Maybe it's ceradic? I don't know. Ceramic storm would be weird. God, that would be terrible. Now, fortunately, we get a really fantastic reward for beating this boss. My absolute favorite spell set that I will probably be using for the rest of the game. And that's the main reason why I came here instead of going and getting the demon key, which I think most players would have done instead. Oh, ooh, just missed.
Ceramic storm.
Damn lightning. So I do tend to like to stick to the middle platform for whatever reason when dodging these orbs. I think it just gives you a bit more of, you know, a bit more area. If you notice that I'm regaining health, it's because I have one skill that will let me gain health while the enemy is bleeding. So that is a nice skill to have when you're against the boss. And there's the end. Got an A rank, so that's not bad. Certainly not bad. Oh, Wyatt. He just has such a problem with authority. But of course the boss has to do the whole thing, you're just like me, but So now, we have an upgrade, but first we're going to make sure that we switch back to Axon, because why not? We're going to upgrade our strength and get a very nice skill. We could get these skills here, but no, what we want is Swift Steps. So that means every time that we evade an attack with a skill cancel, we'll gain a skill cancel. Very, very nice. Now we picked up the Soul of the Warden. So the Soul of the Warden has changed quite a bit since release. 3 of the spells are the exact same, but the air spell is different. So the ground spell is this lightning chain that will grab and pull enemies towards you. The down spell will increase your defense and throw a lightning bolt. The up spell will give you Volt Aura, which we'll see in a bit. And the air spell is chain lightning in the air. So Volt Aura, it will allow us to get through these lightning things unharmed, but it only has 3 hits. Now these lightning things don't really appear too much outside of the Engineer's Palace, so it's maybe not so great, but it also gets buffed, or also buffs Axon. So if you have Volt Aura and you use Axon as your assist, she will deal more damage. So there we see the chain lightning. It's really great, but you have to be very careful when using it on those fellows, as we'll see later on. And now we unlock one of my favorite of the crew members. It's not that she is really all that important, she's just an accessory shop, but I really like Cynthi's design. She's just got this really great pirate queen design to her. I kind of wish she was a playable character. So now we can actually fight these guys in here. I decided to just use the focus attack to take care of them. And hey, we're at level 16. Debating on which skill to get, and we settle on Berserker, because you can never have too much damage, and why not have another point into strength? I believe Volt Aura also has a time limit, so you have to be aware of that. Excuse me. Burping while I'm doing commentary. So, this particular area of the game usually gives me so many problems, and I got through it in one shot, and I'm so happy. Also, that's why you don't use your lightning chain on those guys until after their orbs disappear. Yes, grabbing them with chain lightning will even get through guards, so it's a really nice spell. And there we have our Divine Dust, which we will need to craft the Divine Key. And then we are done with the Engineer's Palace for now. Eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that I missed a chest, but we are going to be coming back to that later. So, as always, I've been DW, thank you for watching.